You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans, I hope that you have had your box of tissues handy because losing John Black this week really, really hit hard. And I felt like it was a cruel twist by the writers to have Kayla tell the family that John was making progress and would likely survive. That happened on Friday. And then on Monday, John's health took a rapid turn for the worst and he died in Marlena's arms. And this week and next week, we're going to see more big returns to Salem as mourners show up to memorialize super spy John Black, who of course was a devoted family man, a good friend, and a true hero. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and in today's Comings and Goings update, we're going to talk about who is headed to Salem to mourn the loss of John Black. Already, we've seen a few people that showed up to rally around Marlena after John was injured in the explosion, and things looked bad and then looked good and then, of course, came out awful. First, we had Carrie Brady, and of course, Paul Narita has been part of the Find John Black story for a while. He was also there at his dad's bedside. We have seen some really sweet, classic footage of Christie Clark as young Carrie, who was raised by John during the time he thought he was Roman Brady, and her mom, Anna DiMera, wasn't always around, so Marlena and John were like parents to her. Look for more of Carrie Brady this week as she consoles Marlena and helps prepare for John Black's funeral. Plus, Paul was there helping search for John alongside his fiance, Andrew Donovan. And Paul was also there to make sure John made it back to Salem after that ISA mission went off the rails. But then Steve Johnson called John to tell him about the Bo Brady crisis and the Versavix and the expertise they needed for their little heist at the meth lab. And that's when John swerved and made a detour before coming home. And of course, the lab explosion gave John his fatal wounds, but he saved the Versavix and that saved Bo. So as John was dying on Monday, Bo was waking up. And he's on his feet soon. After Hope, Sierra, and Sean get the terrible news about John's death and Bo finds out, all of them are going to pack off back home to Salem to say their sad goodbyes. And speaking of Paul, his fiance Andrew is in Salem very soon, so look for scenes with Colton Little. And then once he's back, Paul and Andrew decide they are going to stick with their upcoming wedding plans. They think John would want that. I agree. We've also heard whispers that Charles Shaughnessy is back. And of course, he plays Shane Donovan, who is the chief of the ISA and very close to John and has been for a long time. So Shane could come to Salem not only to say goodbye to John, but also to attend his son Andrew's wedding to Paul. And given the wedding spoilers, I have to wonder if we might get Emily O'Brien back for an episode or two as Teresa Donovan for her brother Andrew's wedding and John's funeral. They mentioned the other day that Andrew and Teresa's mom's cancer was better. So that kind of clears the path. Maybe we will see Teresa and she can have a little visit with her son Tate. So we'll see. We've also already seen Chandler Massey back as Will Horton, John and Marlena's firstborn grandson, but we do not know whether we're going to see his husband, Sonny Kiriakis, back in Salem. And if you remember, Sonny was last played by Zach Tinker. But you know who is in town just in time to mourn John? She's already in town and things take a turn. She's very upset about it, but the daughter that Will, Sonny, and Gabby Hernandez share, Ariana Horton, and of course she arrived shortly after her great-grandfather John was hospitalized. She came back right during the time of the explosion and everything, but again, no word yet on whether her dad Sonny will join them for the sad Days of Our Lives funeral. And of course, we keep hearing about Sammy Brady and Sydney DiMera trying to catch a flight back to Salem. I do expect Alison Sweeney, but we will have to wait and see if she shows up with Sydney, who has not been seen in forever. And if Sammy does bring Sydney, is she going to be a sorest teen? Maybe. We'll also have Leanne Hunley and Teo Pinglis back this week as Anna DiMera and Tony DiMera. They are back to attend the service and may stay a little while. Tony and John, of course, go way, way back, so it'll be sad to see Anna and her husband saying goodbye to their longtime friend John. And did I mention keeping tissues on hand? You will definitely need them. I already did on Monday, and honestly, knowing what was ahead and with all the flashback footage, I have been dipping into my tissue box kind of all of last week as well, and I'm confident the next two, I'm going to need to get a bigger box. So other returns this week include Matthew Ashford and Missy Reeves back as Jack and Jennifer Devereaux. They are on hand to support Marlena and her family and say goodbye to John. But Kat Green may be less than happy to see Abigail DiMera's parents back in Salem. Once Jennifer finds out Chad took Kat out on a date and that they've become fast friends, Jen is going to totally lose it. And two others that we wonder if we might see for John's funeral are his father and someone else close to him. So it would absolutely be great to see Dick Van Dyke back as Timothy Robichaux, John Black's dad, even if it's just for one episode. You know, if you recall, Drake Hogestyn and Van Dyke were gym buddies, and he asked Drake if there were any roles for old guys on Days of Our Lives, and Drake asked and got him a part, and then was quite surprised knowing that they had cast his friend as John's dad, Timothy. So hopefully we will see the tireless 99-year-old actor Dick Van Dyke back on set for the funeral. Also, we have to wonder if Madame Vivian Alamain is going to sneak back into Salem to mourn the passing of her Alamanian nephew this month. Expect a sad, sad funeral, very sad funeral, as we say goodbye to John Black with some tributes to, of course, the real life loss of Drake Hogestyn, who passed away last September. It's going to be a big memorial for John Black. And we don't know, I think, all of the returns. I'm expecting that they may pull out some surprises that they've kept hidden. It's hard to keep a lot of things hidden because they shoot so far ahead and word leaks out, people make comments, there's social media posts, things come out. So we'll see. We may have some surprising comings and goings for the funeral. But this, I think, is going to be one of the saddest days in Salem that we've seen since we had to say farewell to Doug Williams after we lost Bill Hayes last January.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.